have 55 slides for 20 minutes, so way too much. So I will rush you through it. Be ready, this is going to go fast. And I'll skip some things. I just wanted to talk a bit more high level on the interaction between innovation and us as human beings in society, as leaders of companies, but also as employees, as workers. How does it all fit together? And I would like to take you a bit further in the future than only tomorrow. I will skip a video that I had. What is driving change? I believe we all are trying to be customer-oriented companies, but I don't believe that customers wake up in the morning and say, I would like to have a new app. So I don't believe customers are driving change. We need to be customer-oriented, but it's not customers who are driving change. As this guy said, Henry Ford, if he would have asked customers, they would have asked for faster horses, not for cars. A customer does not know what he wants in the future. Although I do believe it's people who drive innovation, it's these kind of people who drive innovation. And they are driving innovation by not asking the customer what they want, but by observing the customer. And they are observing the customer and trying to see how they can improve their lives. And they are trying to see how they can improve their lives through technology. And that's, I fundamentally believe, change today is created by people who observe customers and who try to make our lives more qualitative and more convenient. Through technology. I don't believe that any technology is good enough. Technology for technology has no purpose. Technology will only drive change if it improves the quality of our lives and the convenience of our lives. And that's what these people are doing now. Do we have time? I think we already heard it. We don't. Most often we overestimate what will happen in the next 2 years, but we severely underestimate what will happen in the next 10 years. And indeed, I've heard here already several times, only 5% of people use internet banking and so on and so on. But I think we should not underestimate what's going to happen in terms of innovation also in Bulgaria. It could go pretty fast. This I will skip. What is coming? Innovation, technology driving innovation is not only in the banking sector, it is in general. Just to be ready, these things are coming. We were talking about chips, cards and whatever. Pretty soon we are going to implantable devices. We'll have the chip in the hand, we'll pay with the hand. Not with a mobile phone anymore, we'll just have the chip in the hand. This is going to happen pretty soon. This one, self-driving cars, mid-2020s, this is going to happen. Self-driving cars are going to become part of the standard. Longevity, it's going to happen. Already now, scientists have doubled the life of mice. It's done. Mice live double as long as they used to live. Pretty soon, in the next 20 years, ages of 150 years old are reachable. So this is going to happen. This is going to have huge impact on our society, on us, part of society. I will come back to that later. But this is going to happen. Next generations have a possibility to live up to 150 years. Unfortunately, it's not going to be for us anymore. No hopes. It's only going to be for the people who were born or who will be born in the next decades. But it's going to happen. The electric car is going to become the standard in a couple of, let's say in 10 years, 10, 20 years. Any other car than an electric one will be the exception. The electric car will be the standard. Robots. They're going to become part of our lives, for sure. This is going to happen. Now, what about banks? I think we already heard it. We're boring, and we are. This is also clear. If we don't change, banks are not going to be necessary. Banking is, but banks are not in the current setup. We are slow innovators as banks. We changed from cash to the mobile wallet over a couple of stages. And we changed from going to an office for a loan to doing that through your computer. And we believe we were innovative. That's basically, I call this the new normal. I call this digitalization, not innovation. And digitalization is the new normal. No way out of it anymore. Services not digitally available, you're out of business. But that's not innovation, according to me. What are the key technologies which I believe are going to change our lives in the future, but also the banking sector? I'll mention a couple of them. Some of them I will not touch. But I'll mention, in my opinion, the key ones. This machine will change our lives. That is the Alexa. She will change our lives. She will change banking and how we interact with customers. There is what we call a new disease, which is called app fatigue. Some people have already this disease. I don't know if you have it, I have it. There is no medicine for now, but people don't download apps anymore. We're sick and tired of all the apps because there's too many and you don't know what to use, what app to use for what anymore. If I look at my kids, they're sick and tired of downloading new apps. So, what we will have is that we will speak to the machine. And we will just say to the machine, as we now have Siri already, but as we further developed, we will speak to the machine and say, please do this. The machine will know which app to use and will just do it. So speech technology is going to change the way we interact and how we do banking going forward. We heard a lot about app development. I think app development in the future is going to be needed, but maybe with less attention to the front end because we're going to talk to the machine. We need the back end of the app to make sure things work. But I'm not sure if the front end is going to be that important anymore. We're just going to ask the machine to do something, it's going to find the app and execute. So this is how to think about innovation. Front-end development probably not that important anymore going forward. I'll come back to that one. Artificial intelligence, we already talked about it. Basically everything, the short definition of artificial intelligence could be machines helping to do routine stuff which human beings are doing today, but more accurate and faster. That is basically artificial intelligence in a nutshell. There are many applications of it, but this is going to change our lives. This is going to change how we do banking, both in terms of the front end with the customer, and the front end with the customer is, for example, in the chatbot with augmented reality, artificial intelligence. Why would we have human beings answering 80% of the questions which are the same anyway, every day? A chatbot could do that. But it's also going to change our processes. Why would we, this is for example how it works in car industry for now. In the car industry for now, artificial intelligence tells the engineer whenever there is a mistake in the process, he tells the engineer what's the mistake and how to solve it. No one needs to look for it. Basically robots helping our processes. Why could our accounting processes in banking, why could they not be robotized? This is just routine operations. It's going to change our lives, it's going to change the lives of our employees. So we need to think about that. Big data was already mentioned. Everything is going to be related to big data. Without data, it's not going to happen anymore. The one who is mastering this one is going to make money. The one who does not master this one is going to lose. Having the data, being able to work with the data, this is going to make a difference. If I have time, I will tell this story about this lady, but I will see. Remind me of that if I have time to come back to the lady. The Internet of Things. The Internet of Things is basically the last thing I would like to touch. 50 billion devices are going to be connected by 2020 to the Internet worldwide. 50 billion devices are going to be able to connect to each other. This is going to change the way we work. It's going to change the way we do banking because you could pay through your car. Your car is connected. Why could you not do a payment through your car? This is a nice one. Your fridge is connected to the Internet. You will go to the shop, not having a shopping list anymore, but your mobile phone will know what is in your fridge and what's not and what you need. And you're going to shop like this if you even go to the shop, because you might as well do it online through Amazon and not move from your chair anymore. Because Amazon and your website will know what's in your fridge and what's not. things together what I just said. An example, if you would like to make chopska salad in the evening when you wake up, and you say, this evening I want to make a chopska salad, you're going to say to Alexa, that you would like to make a chopska salad this evening. Alexa will know what is in your fridge, what are you missing to make a chopska salad. Alexa will order the missing ingredients automatically through Amazon. Alexa knows your mobile banking, it will pay through your mobile banking to Amazon, and by the evening the things that you are missing are delivered on your doorstep. That's how it's going to work. This is going to be reality pretty soon. This is going to change the way we do things, also as banks. Because if we are not in that chain where the payment is happening, others will do it for us. That's why, what do we need to do as banks? I think we need to get connected. We need to get connected, and we should stop watching only inside, but we need to get connected to other businesses. Otherwise, we're going to be excluded from some of the change that we just saw if we're not connected. And we need to get engaged. It was already mentioned. It's not only the fintechs, it's also the larger companies that are going to take over the business if we're not doing it. And why do we need to do that? Because innovation kills businesses. The music industry was killed several times over the last decades. Vinyl was killed, cassettes were killed, CDs were killed, now everybody's streaming music. If we are not entering into the connection with other business lines, part of our business might be killed as well as banks. So we need to think about that, and we need to think about the new ways, the new technologies. This one I will skip. I will give just one example of how to get connected and where is the added value for us as banks potentially. If you look at innovation, drones, what do drones, what has a farmer who flies a drone over his crop field, what does it have to do with banking? Well, nothing and a lot. Basically, we are doing this already here in Bulgaria with our insurance company DZI. What is always the problem when you insure crop and there is a damage? It's always a discussion how much of the field is damaged. And in any way, at the end of the discussion, one of the two parties feels screwed. Either the insurer believes he paid too much, or the farmer believes he got too less. He didn't get enough. But the discussion always ends with somebody around the table being unhappy. What we did, now we fly with drones over the crop field, and we perfectly know how much of the crop is damaged. We can even show it. So what we did, we made the whole discussion with the customer more transparent. And at the end of the discussion, farmer might still not be happy, but at least it's transparent, and he agrees with what was the damage of the crop and what should be paid. So we use drone technology for claims handling in crop, in insurance. Now, that's a direct application of technology, drones into banking and insurance world, but we're looking farther than that, because what we're able to do when we fly over a field, we also get heat maps. We also get maps about the fertilization in the soil. We can advise the farmer, because the soil over a big plot of land is not always, it doesn't need to be fertilized everywhere the same amount. There are places which are more fertile than others on a big plot of land. We can advise the farmer where to fertilize more when where less, based on our drone. So we're connecting with him as a business towards his fertilization. The next step is that we will give him that information, we will sell him that information, and we will even offer him a drone who will fly over his field with fertilization, and we will do the fertilization for him. And the fertilizer will release the right amount of fertilization over the right place on the soil. That's how you get connected as a bank with technology to other parts of the business of your customers. It's one example of what we are effectively doing here. Connected cars is an example. This is a nice one, but I don't think we have time for it. I was talking about the technology, how it changed human life, how it changed us, our lives, how we should think about it as leaders of companies, but also as actors in the society. So, should we just do it? Well, I think this statement is quite important. We should be skeptical. We should be critical, because there are a lot of questions to ask. The ethical question, how far can you go with all these things? We all heard about already robotics entering into the weapon industry. How far do you want to let want to let this go? Big data, how much of our data we want to be used by whom? And how do we want to let this go? I think there is a lot of work for the regulator to regulate some stuff. There is a lot of ethical discussions in technology. And contradictory, but funny to see, it are the main innovators who are steering this discussion. It is Elon Musk himself who is pushing the regulators to start working on this. Because he's there and he sees how far this could go. And some of the things he sees, he also doesn't want to see in reality. So these guys, which I showed at the beginning, are innovating, but at the same time pushing the regulator to regulate stuff so that it doesn't get out of hand. Ethical questions, the pension age. As I said, longevity. How's it going to impact our lives? Population. How long are we going to work? Who is going to pay for retirement? What's going to happen with the planet if we all live till 150 years? Are we going to allow cloning of people? And how far do we want to go in longevity? Lots of questions there that has to be tackled. Cybercrime was already mentioned, an important one. How do we, because cyber criminals are always one step ahead of us, clear, so how do we tackle this? Trust, as banks especially, we're in the business of selling trust. How do we keep trust with all this high-tech stuff? How do we make sure that we don't misuse data of our customers, that we don't make mistakes? And I will come back to the example of the lady to give, to close my story. And that's also an interesting one. I think most of us in this room were able to build their careers based on experience and extra learning on the job, extra training, whatever you want. That's gone. For your children, my children, our children, that story is over, because as I said, technology is disruptive. What's going to happen is some things we know today are not going to be there anymore in 10 years' time. New things will occur. Meaning, young people will have to learn, unlearn, and relearn. That's the future of young children today. I speak quite often also to university students and to graduates, and they ask me, what should I study? What's now a good thing to study in this fast-changing world? And obviously, everything that has to do with health has a future. Longevity, making people's lives healthier and longer, there is a future in that. Everything that has to do with environment, energy, there is a future in that. But for sure, what I always advise young people, and I think it's an advice for all of us here, we should follow up on technology. If you're not up to date with technology, you might be out of a job pretty soon, because you're going to have to learn, unlearn, and relearn. I was speaking to a young girl, and she said, yeah, but I want to be a doctor. Pretty clear to me, I want to be a doctor. The human body has not changed that much. So for me, it's straightforward. I told her, how much of your time do you think you will be studying the human body, and how much of your time you will be studying technology? Because today, in medicine, everything's about technology. Surgery, it's all with robots and technology. So even doctors will have to do this one. So for us as human beings in society, our employees, ourselves, this is the future. Because this might be the future jobs, huh? We might have space pilots, we might have virtual teachers, we might have avatar managers. This could be future jobs due to technology. So, takeaways I will just give by this one story. I will come back, and it covers innovation but also the ethical questions. This lady, to conclude, I don't know if you know the Walmart story. The Walmart story, they sent coupons to a young girl of 17-year-old. And they sent discount coupons for maternity clothes. And the father found the coupons. So he was extremely angry with Walmart. He said, guys, are you trying to stimulate my daughter to become pregnant? She's 17. What are you doing? So, extremely angry, he wrote a letter to Walmart, and immediately they apologized. Said, sorry, probably a mistake from our marketeer, that was not the idea. Now, what happened 3 months later? 3 months later, the father had to call Walmart back to say, sorry, I apologize, but my daughter is 4 months pregnant. Walmart knew faster than her father. And why? Because they had big data. They had her payment data. She was shopping already in maternity shops, in baby shops. They had her internet data. She was already surfing at websites related to children, to maternity, and so on and so on. And based on that, a smart marketeer who worked with big data said, oops, we need to send this lady coupons for maternity clothes. And now it comes, of course, to big data, innovation, technology, but we come to the ethical question. How far do we want this to go? How far do we want companies to use our data like that, and how far we as banks are going to go? Because we're in the business of selling trust. So lots of questions to be tackled, but this is one of the examples how far it could eventually go. Remember the maternity coupons. I will stop here, then just shortly what I wanted to share with you on how it could affect our lives, innovation.